Ketepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer, may Buddha bless you. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how the elite will destroy you. I'm going to lay out the exact plan, and I'm also going to give you the secret to salvation to save yourself. Because it's ironic, because a lot of individuals have been reaching out to me via email and text saying, well, what do we do? What's the answer? So I want to get deep into that so you don't walk away with just an idea of disseminating the problem. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Recorded videos, yes. And if you're interested in learning more about our spiritual teachings, you can scroll down and hit the links below, and you will get free ebooks that you can read. It'll take you deeper into the spiritual esoteric knowledge that I'm disseminating. Next, if you want to follow that rabbit down the rabbit hole, just become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. You can cancel at any time. You'll get exclusive access to instructional videos, which will teach you how to contact the ancestors, how to summon spirits, magical evocation, how to create a magical amulet, how to do self-hypnosis to curb like negative habits, how to work with the oracles, divination, and proper breathing exercises, Qesankh, so much more. So become a Patreon supporter today, and you can cancel at any time. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get this revolution started. All right, Hitepu. Now that my evil twin brother, the guy with the beard, is gone, we can get really into the spiritual teachings, okay? I don't know if you guys are aware of there was a really great episode called Mirror Mirror, Star Trek, when they went into a parallel universe, and Spock had a beard. And because of Star Trek convention, I was really looking forward to dressing up as a mirror version of myself. You know, the evil version. There's a good version, evil version, what have you. But it was very polarized. It was one of the best Star Trek episodes they were, called Mirror Mirror. And it's since been duplicated by a lot of other of the franchise's properties. So let's get into this. It's such a big subject. Just like, where do I start, man? I want you to understand that the condition you find yourself in, whether economically, politically, socially, is not of your fault. If you're a person of minority persuasion, and if you're a person who is white. You see, the ruling elite that hides in the undergrounds, they build bunkers underground. That's where their bases are. They create culture. They create factions, and they pit these factions against each other to get them warring and fighting, and they remain hidden. This ruling elite, this 1%, so you can never see them and never know what's going on. Hence, you think what's going on in our world is organic, that these things just happen. It's just part of human nature, but it's not. Racism is not part of human nature. We did not have racism back in antiquity. We didn't. But see, when the ruling elite decided to take control of the planet and destroy all the libraries with the ancient papyri on metaphysics and spiritualism, when they took that information, they robbed us and made us materialistic. And they made us worship earth-born energies instead of higher spiritual energies. This was happening with the Roman Emperor Constantine in 325 AD, when he moved us from the moon cult to the sun cult, because prior to that, we were children of both the moon and the sun cult. The moon is the right brain, the sun is the left brain. So now we're very predominantly superficial in our thinking and surface, topical in the way we look at the world and the universe. This is why we have not produced any great geniuses like Imhotep, producing great civilizations like Kemet, because we're left brain thinkers. Now, these diabolical individuals want to eradicate us because they know that if they don't eradicate people of color who are predominantly integrated brain thinkers, whole brain thinkers, will bring back the culture of antiquity, which was an advanced culture, morally and technologically. So to keep us corrupted and to keep us from bringing that culture back, they fabricate through the left brain, Sebek, these ideas, these groups, and then they put these groups against each other in a battle. And this will keep us from seeing the true enemies, the true villains, the true puppet masters. For example, as I said, you as a minority person, and white people are in the same boat, but let me just focus on minority right now, the so-called minority, because that's a label and definition. It's erroneous, because you represent the majority of the population of the planet if you are of color. But that's how they mess with the trickery, you see. So what they did was they took control of the planet and they went underground in these bunkers. Very advanced technology they have right now, very, very advanced. More advanced than Star Trek. Because see, when they stole the papyrus and the secret scrolls and they started to live that culture of advanced technology, of astral travel, astral projection, they retarded the progress of the world. So we're above here living in primitive states, but we think it's advanced because we've got a cell phone, an iPhone, or an iPad. But we're really living in the dark ages because man has not evolved spiritually. We're still on the Sahu animal level. Get rid of all the laws and legislation and we will start to rape and pillage. Because we are not spiritually evolved. In ancient Kemet, you could do away with any laws in Kemet and the people will still act moral because they lived according to Ma'at. But I digress. If you get an opportunity, please donate to the channel and don't forget to hit the like button. That's very important. Hit the like button. You guys forget to do that sometimes, so please hit that like button. So you are a threat to the ruling elite. You are a threat to them remaining on the throne and controlling the planet because you have the ability through integrated brain thinking to resurrect a culture of advanced technology that could wipe them out. This is the whole story in Asar and the Set. When Set took control of the throne away from Osir, he instituted a debaucherous culture. Satanism, hedonism. It is not your fault that you may be acting backwards and materialistic because you're a fish in a fish bowl with polluted water. So you're going to act accordingly. If the water is clean, you're going to be healthy, you're going to be thinking clearly. But if the water is dirty, you're going to be acting with debaucherous behavior. And that's what we see today. But the mere fact that you continue in this behavior in light of the truth then puts the responsibility upon you. And now one has to question your sanity. Why are you continually going along with something you know is wrong? It's not your fault that it was originally instituted and you were born into this system. But there has been sages that have been brought here from the inner planes, from Ma'at, Tehuti, Osir, to help guide you, and yet you still resist the truth, make excuses for not living truth. I had this woman I was talking to, and I said, Lizzie, Cardi B, they're all no good. Well, she says, well, a girl got to eat, don't she? She got to make some money. I said, do you realize your chances of being a Lizzie or Cardi B are so small? You have a better chance of being a brain surgeon. So don't talk about you got to eat. You can eat in a myriad of different jobs and ways. You act like being at the top pinnacle as an Illuminati disciple, like Cardi B and Lizzo, is the only way to gain a living. That's how fractured and messed up our thinking is. As Robert Townsend said, in his film Hollywood Shuffle when he refused to take a role that would disrespect him and stereotype him, and the others said, "Well, we gotta eat, we gotta get to work," and he says, "There's work at the post office." He was so right, because it's a moral judgment you have to make. And people be looking at these, and this is what they are. They're agents. Your Kanye West and your top rappers, Jay-Z, to deflect you and distract you from what you should be doing and what you should be pursuing. Jay-Z's a drug dealer. He was put there and appointed there by the ruling elite. You will never get to his level. You will never get to his level. The odds are statistically, astronomically against you, unless you sign a contract with the devil. And then you'll find out what really goes on behind the scenes. So we have to stop this idol worship, but it's not your fault, because they have constructed the fishbowl with polluted water, so you can't think straight. So and the way that they've accomplished this takeover has not been in one particular area, and that's why it's so confusing to people and they can't see it. See, they knew a long time ago when they were working through and they setting up their so-called think tank institutions, the Rockefeller Foundation, Council on Foreign Relations, Tavistock, and so many more, which are designed to study human behavior and steer the society through social engineering toward a dystopian future. So when they were creating these plans, they said, we have to disseminate this through many different means, through entertainment, through education, through social institutions, and we have to force it upon the people. So, for example, you must understand that through programs like Project Paperclip, where after the fall of the Third Reich, they gave amnesty to over 40 Nazis to come in to government. Well, it was 400, I believe. Sorry. 400 Nazis to come into government, to NASA, and other areas. So, and there are images of Klan rallies in Washington in the middle of the street. It is known that Werner von Braun and many more of these Nazis have infiltrated NASA. The eugenics movement, Margaret Sanger, all of them come out of the whole idea of the superior human being. But see, this is what they do. They use people like Margaret Sanger to create things like feminism. Then they force it into the Black community for the idea of reducing the population. Because if you get the women to believe that the patriarchy is the problem, they form a gynocracy, and then they become misandries, then they hate men. And this creates the problems of a gender war that were manufactured, implanted there by the secret societies, the think tank Tavistock institutions. But you think that it's okay to be obese and jump on the stage and dance and twerk, because that's part of a operation by the government to attack the culture. So they figured out that the way they can eliminate and depopulate this country of minorities is to introduce a culture that would slowly degrade and destroy the people. And they tried it first with hip hop to make hip hop mainstream, a way of life. And your idiots like KRS-One talking about hip hop as a religion, as a way of life. No, it's a government created culture designed to destroy you. There's nothing life affirming about it. They planned that the different stages that hip hop would go through, from nationalistic, revolutionary, to feminine, to gangster. And next is to co-opted by LGBTQ community, and then take that community which they created and have them try to fight against African Americans. You see, they create these organizations, institutions like Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, feminism. They create even they create MGTOW, men going their own way. They don't want you to resolve your issues with women. They don't want you to resolve your issues with women. They say MGTOW, just men, just go on your own way. That's anti-life. That's not what God intended for you, no matter how messed up the women got. You've got to work it out with women. You've got to procreate. You've got to create families. In Africa, you couldn't be a king unless you had a family, because the family was the microcosm of a macrocosm of leading a nation. How well you treated your sons, your daughters, your wives would show and reflect on how you would be as a king of a nation. But as I said, this is not your fault, because you're dealing with a devious enemy. And all they want to do is destroy you. And they figured out the best way to do it is through culture. So they infiltrate the Black community with their Hoteppers, Umar Johnsons, the young pharaohs, your brother Polites, who specifically target Kemetic culture to destroy Kemetic religion, because they know it's very popular, and Kemetic religion is a part of European occultism. Aleister Crowley was a big follower of the Kemetic religion, and it proved to be very powerful. So they said, we can't have African Americans into that. So they had to create these agents to come in who are criminals right out of prison and destroy the credibility of the Kemetic religion. And then they're so sinister, they create controlled opposition, like the Nation of Islam, which is a fraud organization. And Farrakhan is a fraud, working as an agent as part of controlled opposition, no better than BLM. Notice how he led 2 million monkey marches on the Washington and never accomplished anything. No voter registration, no storming of the Capitol, no changing of the guard, no collection of massive funds to purchase land. He did nothing because that was what he's designed to do. He's a distraction. The man boasted about the assassination of Malcolm X. He's not the rightful leader of the Nation of Islam. He was never appointed by Elijah Muhammad. Chicago, where his base of operation is, his mosque, has the highest crime rate in the world. I'm not sorry, never the world, excuse me, the country. He has not solved the problem of mass incarceration. But these are controlled opposition agents that are set up so you won't go too far. You won't be radical. You won't do anything. And they attack the culture by putting in there warped views, warped ideas. Like if I'm shaking my booty and twerking, I am asserting myself as a woman. I am taking my power back. That's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. That's a setback problem. Setback is creating erroneous names and definitions and labels, and you buy into that belief system, that ideology, and that's what's corrupting you. It's a corrupt culture. Tupac, P. Diddy, they're all no good. They're no good. but you still worship them, and you think that they're there. They all were drug dealers. They all use their money to get to a position and are extremely self-centered, individualistic. They thought nothing about the Black community aside from rhetoric, just talking. You're in a massive mouse maze and you're running around, you can't figure out how to get out. And everywhere you turn, they have an organization, an institution set up to confuse you, to get you to support it. And then when you support it, you found out it was actually out to get you. We've known that George Soros was behind BLM for a long time. Why isn't that organization dismantled? We've known that Biden is just as racist as Trump. Why would he vote for Biden? We've known that all the presidents, including Barack Obama and Bush, were related. Why was there no investigation into that? The wandering sage, of course. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So you take up the cause, walk around in pink, yellow hair, rainbow colors to identify with diversity and the alphabet community. You think that's cool. Meanwhile, they're set up to destroy you. Oh, no, no, no. The plan is global. There's a book called The Global Chess Game, where they talk about how they're going to institute this on a global level. It's not just about here. No. This is why you have certain radical factions in other countries like the Taliban rebelling, because they're rebelling against feminism being taught in their universities. They're rebelling against this so-called alphabet philosophy and ideology. They're rebelling against all this, and they're rebelling against the idea of toxic masculinity. So when you see some of these terrorist groups acting up, know that they're not all out there just doing stuff to create chaos, but they have real legitimate grievances against the United States. Read the book The Jackal, how we go in and we destroy third world countries financially and then put in place puppet leaders. Read the story of Patrice Lumumba and the Congo and what happened there. Sad story. This is why I want you to identify as consciousness, not as a color, not as a gender, not as a political affiliation, but as consciousness, as God. Therefore, they can't place you in a box. They can't trick you. Somebody says, well, what's your nationality? I said, well, you know, I'm biracial, but I'm consciousness. I've always been and always will be. See, they got to work through the women especially, because if you know in the story, if you understand the story of Asar and a set is the keeper of culture and morals. She's the great teacher. Women teach the children. So they have to corrupt the minds of the women, make them argumentative, make them selfish, self-centered, make them vain, make them hate themselves, make them hate their hair texture, make them put spider eyelashes on, the 20 feet eyelashes, long like fingernails, which all of this they got from the what do you call it, is a transgender community. They picked that up from them, the beauty tips, which is bad. Because now you look at a woman, you'd be like, are you really a woman or what? When you see the most beautiful women, even the most beautiful dark-skinned women, you wonder like, wow, if only we were just going back to normality. You don't need all of this purple hair. You don't need to be wearing circus uniforms, like orange and pink colors to get attention. You got natural beauty if you only tune into it. And black men, stop trying to style and profile and have swag. And get some intelligence for a change. I heard there was a problem at a church, and this saddened me. A speaker was speaking, and the guy got up, and they were arguing, and it almost got to a physical confrontation if it wasn't for the women in the congregation that got up and pulled them apart. And it saddened me to know that it had to be the women that pulled them apart because the men were too weak as men to do that. And I can attest to that because I've seen a lot of weak men. But this is the culture, and this is what women are, how they're teaching their children, especially their boys, to be weak. They're going according to the plan. They're wandering stage. That is absolutely true. I noticed that myself, I noticed that myself. So they got to attack our culture because we don't really care about our culture. We don't really care about the Kemetic religion. We'll run and throw money in tied to Joel Osteen, Education Price, all these other con artists. But when you start talking about Asar, Set, Kemetic religion, oh, you a Hotepper. Look how they've already discredited the Kemetic religion. Look what a masterful job they've done. But it's the women that should have been the guardians of that culture, and they should have been teaching their children about the story of Asar and Aset, about Het-Heru, about Hatshepsut, about Akhenaten. This is our legacy, our story. You try to take it. You try to take the Torah away from the Jews. You have a holy war in your hand. You try to take you try to take Muhammad from the Muslims. Oh my God, forget it. But you can steal Kemetic culture and make a movie with all white people in it. They don't mind. Black people don't mind. Black people go with it because we want to see Tyler Perry. We want to say Tyler Perry as Medea. How your children doing? How y'all children doing? Don't make me take my shoes off. And Oprah's a mammy in every film she's in. She only does civil rights film. She'll do a film that's maybe titled as a queen where a black man is beating her up. But she'll never do a movie about an Egyptian queen or African queen, a true African queen. She won't do it because she's got her orders from the ruling elite. Tyler Perry becomes a billionaire filmmaker and people wondering, well, how did he do it? Because he's an agent. That's how he did it. That's clear. That's clear. Why is BET pumping so much garbage programming? Because they're part of the conspiracy. They're part of the ruling elite's plan to feed you garbage of a culture, to make you believe it's okay for women to think they're better than men, to not come under the leadership of men, to run around like they're independent, to have babies by multiple men, then blame it on the men. No, you spread your legs for multiple men. You have 33 means of birth control, and you exercise not one of them. Put together a gynocracy that destroys male leadership to where we could have built industry, infrastructure to get us out of this situation we are in. And they're going to do the same thing with other mediums. They're going to corrupt Black Panther 2 when it comes out by putting it all female. So you got to put this female thing, the divine feminine, ahead because you got to effeminize Black men. And that's why they created the alphabet community to call Black men a threat, toxic masculinity. Yes, they're targeting you, Black man, and they're using the Black woman against you. Yes, they're targeting you, white man, and they're using the white woman against you. But you go along with it because you wear your face mask which says BLM and your t-shirts that say BLM. And you wear the pink and the purple hair. And you dress like a circus clown. And then you want to wonder why you're not feminine or why no guys are checking for you. Why they dating white girls or Asian girls or Latina girls. Because you're masculine. Because you're argumentative, because you won't shut up, because you're not meek, you're not reserved, you're not loving and caring like Isis, Aset, or Heteru. A woman came in and she said something to me. She was shocked too. She was totally shocked. And she said it was really one word, but I am an empath. I can pick up on the energy. I already saw she had a masculine energy about her. And she said one word that was very, no, it's actually two words, very insulting to me. So I said, okay, you can leave now. Oh, she goes, well, when's my next appointment? I said, no, there's no next appointment. Get out. Get out. And she was in total shock because she had never dealt with a man who was short with her like that and a man who had boundaries and lines of demarcation. You do not disrespect me as a man and as a God. But we have a culture now created by the ruling elite that empowers women to disrespect men, to jump in their faces and spit in their faces, slap them without any repercussions. In fact, if you're a man, you defend yourself, you're more likely to go to jail. This is the culture that they've created. And it's going to be very difficult for you to get yourself from out of it because it's 360. It's going to be everywhere you turn. Hatred of being Black, hatred of African religion, hatred of your hair, hatred of who you are. There is no excuse for you to be wearing weaves. There's no excuse for you to weigh 500, 400 pounds. As a man or female. I see the guys walk around with the pot belly or the beer belly or the dad body. I'm like, boy, go to the gym, man. What, you shouldn't be like having a belly like that. And they think it's cool. I'm Biggie Smalls. No, you're not Biggie Smalls. You're an idiot. And we idolize mainstream media so much. We all think we're thugs, boss bitches, divas, kings and queens. Our mindset has been gone a long time. It's checked out. And instead of us majoring in focusing on what's important, we major in the minors. We focus on little things that will make no substantial change and improve the quality of our lives. So here comes a solution. I have people that write to me and ask me, well, do you think it's a dismantling of the government? Do you think we should defund the police? And I keep saying, you're still taking a left brain approach to this. You think a topical approach is going to work? It's not. They're strong. These ruling elite have trillions of dollars to institute culture, to set up agents, to confuse you. They're always going to continue to create these organizations that'll put you and marginalize you and put you on the peripheral. One of the first things Biden did when he came into office is he signed protection for Asians. Meanwhile, we have things like another virus, Afghanistan, economic crisis, and you're focusing on a hate crime bill for Asians. We knew that there could be a second wave of an epidemic, but he's focusing on something that he is basically geared toward depopulation. That's what he wants. He's trying to pit groups. What they do is they pit groups against each other. See, if you're African American, you're on the bottom of the totem pole. At the top is white people. And every immigrant group that comes in knows the deal, that they step on you to get to where they need to go. The church knows that in order to make a lot of money, they have to lie to their congregation of women. Oh, you got 5 baby daddies? It's not your fault. They're all 5. They're all bad. They're all bad men. It was unfortunately unlucky for you to meet 5 bad men. Oh, you got herpes? That's not your fault. Oh, how many people you say you slept with? You slept with 20 men? Oh, that's not your fault. You were lonely. Now tired. Give me some money. Instead of telling these women the truth, like, how could you be sleeping without protection, spreading STDs? Why are you incapable of having a relationship? Why you continually seek out men that don't want a relationship or don't want children? Can we look at that? I'm sorry, I'm speaking truth here. And I know we don't want to hear that. So here's the solution. Here's how we get out of this. You see, people they're like, well, does it mean that we have to create a new political organization? Do we have to go back to Africa? Do we have to get some land of our own? No, it won't work. They've got trillions of dollars to thwart your efforts. The way you get out of the situation is to understand how you got into it. It is a false reality. It is a construct. It's a collective consensus agreement that the Illuminati has got you to agree to. And you manifest this reality. You see? So the way to get yourself out of this is to shift to a parallel reality. One that is in alignment with life-affirming principles, ma'at. But how do you do that? You've got to change your thinking. You have to adapt new modes and methods of thinking. But first, you have to cut off the subliminal programming and the social engineering and divorce yourself from modern mainstream media. Stop thinking you're boss bitches, queens, kings, kangs. Independent, don't need a man. Get rid of that thinking, because that's what you're reinforcing the paradigm. You're reinforcing their magic, their thought viruses, their ergobores, their pendulums that exist in ether that are growing stronger and stronger. The more you feed it with their ideology, you've got to cut yourself off from that and now start as a god or goddess to manifest the reality that you want that's going to be better. And then if you keep focusing on that from an emotional perspective and a visual perspective and meditation, you will shift to a better world. Do you get it now? You have to activate your God power. You're not going to be able to just go to a political organization like the Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam, and then think that because you're a member of the organization, you'll make some real change. No, we tried that. We got duped. We got duped by BLM. We tried that with the Black Panther Party. Then we got things like COINTEL program. We got infiltrated. It won't work. These secret societies, these think tank institutions are chess masters. They're 20 moves ahead of you. You just realizing that Lizzo, Cardi B, and Megan Thee Stallion are agents. That's old news. You're just realizing that they were appointed by the Illuminati and they weren't actual artists. It's old news. You're just realizing that Prince and Michael Jackson have to pretend to be gay because they are threatened by black male masculinity. So Prince and Michael Jackson signed a contract that they will be the top pop stars if they are metrosexual, if they are effeminate. because the world fears black masculinity, black seed, and they love it at the same time. Yes, it's all smoke and mirrors, and you're falling for it. Take back your God power by first saying, I will not subscribe to the dominant ideology. I will work for the tenets of Ma'at. I will work for the tenets of Oset and Heru and Sebek. And I will create my own reality. I will not support the current reality. Because if you support the current reality, you will always be at the bottom of the totem pole. Because that is what the magical occult ergobor, the pendulum, is designed to do, to indoctrinate you and put you at the bottom. But if you create your own reality, you springboard yourself to the top as God man, God woman. You're so stupid. You walk around in diva glasses, multicolored hair, crazy jeans that are falling off and it's exposing your butt. Living in this hell when you could be ruling in your own reality. They're abusing you. They're oppressing you. They're killing you because you are giving them permission to do so by falling victim to the ideology of this reality. Reject it. And the minute you reject it and you start meditating, focusing, and chanting your mantra of the reality that you want, you become the king and queen of a new earth, of a new Gaia, of a new terra firma. And you will find it so beautiful. I can say no more. I'm done. This is Qesankh Ma'akaparu, so the Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.